sometimes your next best post isn't a new one. And I've been there where you're spending all this time going, oh my God, I need ideas and I just feel like garbage. So now I got to put something together. And you just hate the whole idea of going through the process. And the beautiful thing is you already have the answer, and it's months or weeks or even years old. So today, let's talk about the value of best ofs and how this is going to allow you to consistently post, get more value out of the content that you make, and just clear that mental roadblock, because you need peace in your life. You're a business owner, you're running around, you're making all this stuff. It's a lot to do. So when you can make your life easier, that's what we're going to talk about today. So welcome into It's Not Just Talking. I'm Vince Quinn alongside Taylor Cradatis, and what we do is we help coaches, consultants, people who are the business get more out of their podcasts. So later in the show, by the way, before we get too far, we're going to talk about a valuable way to protect and grow your business. But first, let's talk about best ofs. I used to hate best ofs. Really did. I was bothered by the idea of them. It upset me as a child.
In what context?
So I remember, for example, here's my earliest memory of hating best ofs. This is so good. Okay, I'm in 3rd grade. Pokemon is on TV. Big show, first season. And I'm like, oh yeah, I love Pokemon. And I'm watching through the whole thing. And then once the season was over, I didn't appreciate the concept at the time of, there's only so many episodes they're making, and they're going to take a break and go back. I didn't get seasons.
Well, yeah, because you got like 50 new episodes or whatever. Like
it was
a crazy amount of new episodes.
It was an early, like those early TV shows made 1 million episodes. So I just always thought there would be more every single week. And then, the show was really popular. So at the same time slot, even though the show was done for the season, they kept rerunning the episodes. It was a big hit. So they'll just play it again. And that drove me crazy. And for me, it's like, oh, they're so lazy. And, I was so mad about it. And I think from that point on, I just always had that, that now understood thirst for content. And it's like, I need this new thing. I need this fresh thing. I got to get that. And if I'm not getting that, I'm disappointed. And as I've gotten older, I realized how silly that feeling was to begin with, and how much we take in best ofs all the time, everywhere. And so, it's that thing, though, of I need to come up with new ideas. I need to have these great opinions and this next new thing that's revolutionary and it's going to blow people's minds. And it's just, you don't have to work that hard. It's really that simple. It's crazy to think that you're going to come up with some new, deep, profound philosophical thing or this great new hack and do that every single week. It's just not possible. And so when I'm looking at all of this, let's talk about some of the reasons why then you're actually getting this great value out of doing best ofs. Because first off, feeds are crowded. And when you're getting these posts out, yes, it feels good and you might even get good reaction on it. But what percentage of your audience saw it, even if it did well? I mean, I watched this guy. And Taylor, I mentioned this to you the other day. I saw this guy on LinkedIn, 3,000 subscribers. And he was complaining because sometimes he'd get 29 views.
Damn.
29 views. Yeah, that was just the number of people that saw his post, period. 29 out of 3,000.
And that's something only he knows, correct? That
so initially it was only him, and then he screenshotted it and shared it as an image. So then
okay.
Everybody knew.
Right.
So yeah, he made it an issue, but that was the feeling that he had. He's like, hey, why is nobody seeing this? So yeah, even if it does well, I mean, obviously that post didn't do well, but even when posts do well, not everybody's seeing it. So you have to account for that, and that's part of the reason why best ofs are valuable. Most people don't see what you post. And the other side of this is that not everyone was following you then, because we're always adding new people. And that's part of the intention of the different funnels that we've built, right? Like, we have ways that we're advertising, and we'll fill you in on this in a future episode to give you more background on it. But we're advertising, and in that process, when we're meeting with people, our content is involved. We're giving them an avenue to, hey, sign up for the newsletter. Here's the podcast. And to have that, our audience is growing, which means that they didn't see anything that we did beforehand. Like it's really that simple. So, okay, great. Now they get the chance to do that. Not everybody is even if they love you, they're not always going to go and consume that content. They're not always going to listen to your episode, for example, in the moment that it's first posted. Even if they love you and follow you and listen to 90% of what you do, for whatever reason, that might have been the 10% they didn't. And so to know that, okay, well, I'm going to reintroduce this. And for all of the new people, for all of the people who haven't seen this before, they're getting another chance to engage with it. And when you're thinking about the way all of this works, the information's still valid, right? Like it's not like, oh my God, I posted all these things and it's aged horribly. If you do have things that are like that,
right,
then yeah, like stock tips. You know what I mean? Those kinds of things aren't great.
You do want to have like reoccurring beliefs, reoccurring principles. Like that's part of your brand. And like, politicians or somebody in the church, like they're always saying the same thing and they say it for years and years, sometimes even decades. So you want things to be consistent anyway that matches up with your brand because that builds loyalty long term.
100%. So yeah, like these things, you're going to have core stuff that is valuable, that stays the same. So believe in that, right? That's why you do all of this. That's why you post this stuff anyway. So when you create that kind of content, yeah, reintroduce it to people. It's totally okay. And, sometimes even just one last part of this, let's say people did consume it. We're consuming a lot. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of stuff. It's all these truisms and whatever. Like the things that I see on LinkedIn sometimes, and I'll go, oh, that's really smart. And then I immediately forget about it because there's too many things.
You're not taking notes while you're scrolling through LinkedIn. Yeah.
No, yeah. To look at something and read it and go, okay, this is interesting, is one thing. To say, I'm truly incorporating this into how I act and operate. Like we just don't process everything at that profound of a level. You can't function that way.
I mean, you have to reread a book sometimes too, and that's even like you fully paying attention to something.
Yeah. It's one of those, you hear that all the time with people. Oh my God, I reread this book like every 2 years.
Yeah.
So of course you can't process it, or you need it to have more life experiences happen to you to be able to fully appreciate it or see it in a new light.
Have a proper context of whatever the situation is.
Yeah, like all of that piles up. So you can see that when you're getting this then and reintroducing it, maybe you have this terrible third grade experience and thought process that I had of just like, no, it feels icky and people aren't going to care and whatever. Like, I mean, there might be certain people that feel that way. Fine. But for the big picture, is this a positive thing for your business, for your ability to consistently get posts up? Like, absolutely. Absolutely. So don't be embarrassed about this or don't feel awkward about this. It's good value. People need it. You're there to provide it. That is your job. That is your business. And that's what we're doing here. So believe in that. And start using your best ofs. And what we're going to do with this in just a moment then, because now that we've covered a lot of just the background of the value, what I want to do is progress a little bit more and just talk about some natural ways that you can incorporate this into your business. What do those rhythms look like? What is that posting schedule? How do you fully take advantage of best ofs? That's right after this. If you're looking for more ways to grow your business through podcasting, sign up for the SBX newsletter. The link is right here in the show notes, and each week in your inbox, you're going to get tips, opinions, strategies, all the things that we talk about here on the show in your inbox. The SBX newsletter right here in the show notes. So, when should I post these best ofs then, right? Let's dig into this a little bit because there's a few ways to do it. And one of them is you're just taking a break, right? Like, it's the summertime, nobody's around, you're going on vacation, or honestly, even if you're not like gone, because I mean, you might not be gone for like a month at a time, right? You might be taking like a 3-day or a week or whatever, but you just want the breather. It's good to have some downtime and take things off of your schedule when you can. So to be able to get these best ofs and say, all right, well, my slowest month is June or July, or here's an incredibly busy season for you, right? Like, for example, if you're an accountant, April is hell. It just is, and the time around that is terrible. So maybe it makes sense for you to do best ofs then, because you can schedule that out really far in advance. You don't have to think twice about it, and you know that these things are valuable.
Yeah, you want the very, very basics for when people are paying attention to you, and that's things that you can always repeat.
Exactly. So do that then, right? Take that time off. Enjoy it. I mean, bringing you in a little bit, as you are listening to this right now, if you're listening within the couple of days since this episode's been published, I'm in Japan right now. We're scheduling ahead. So this is us scheduling ahead, talking about best ofs.
Vince is going to find the Pokemon creators and give them some thoughts of a 7-year-old Vince's missing out on Pokemon every week.
That's right. This is a vendetta trip for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find a guy in a Pikachu suit and punch him in the face. So that's what this is gonna be for me. But yeah, so we're planning ahead with this content, but there's also going to be some stuff that we mix in other parts of the channel where it's best ofs. With all this content that we create, we're gonna have some best ofs that are worked in because I'm on a honeymoon. Like, it just is what it is, you know? So it's an easier thing. It's an easier way to navigate all of this. And we've got a lot of work to do to get ready to just be ahead of that when I'm gone. So great. I don't need to put as much attention to the content. We've got valuable stuff, and we're getting it out there. So yeah, if you need to take a whole month off, a whole summer off, I mean, a summer's a lot, but at the very least a month, yeah, go take that break, do your best ofs, run it for a month, and get back to the grind. The other thing is, you can do this if you're falling behind. So if in that same token, it's, oh my God, I am drowning, and it's been so much so that you've missed recording dates and missed putting posts together, and you need to build that backlog back up. Well, this is where those best ofs are relevant, because now you've got time to breathe again. And again, it's all the same things. You know this content is good. People are interested. It works. They might not have heard it before. All the things we discussed. So use that time to put a couple of best ofs out and rebuild your lead and take advantage of it that way. Totally fine. Totally fair. You know, this isn't like some big global corporation that has all these sponsors and a full staff of 500 people behind the scenes on this late night show or what, you know what I mean? Like, it's you and your business. So do what works for you. And if that means that you need to do some best ofs to catch up on your content because things have been crazy, no problem. That's what this is for. And then the other part of this, the third way that you can really leverage the content besides just, you know, doing a full block of it to take a break or to catch up, is mixing it into your regular flow. And this is something that we need to get better at, to be transparent.
Sure.
Like, there's more ways that we can go and dig back into our content and reintroduce it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Across all the places. But for now, at least, we've been pretty good with getting everything up. So anyway, this is all a tangent to say that, especially on social media, in your newsletters, like these other things where it's smaller, shorter fractions of the podcast, then repost that stuff. That should be a part of your regular rhythm, because the same thing, these core ideas are real. They're valuable. And when you're thinking about what social media is, one of the biggest things you have to do is get towards volume. And that is like our struggle. Is we've gotten a good number of posts up, but we're always thinking about how can we introduce more. So that's what we're working on now. And when you see what some of these big creators are, I mean, Taylor, you looked at Alex Hermosi, who I also mentioned recently.
Yeah.
Like, how many posts was he doing a day?
I mean, just on his Instagram, I saw 4 posts a day.
And that's just on one platform.
Yeah, and that was like different videos, different clips from his podcast, static images, carousels of just him, you know, out and about. Like, there's a ton of stuff on there, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you're talking, he's probably posting 7 days a week. So
He's got to, yeah.
So 7 times 4, 28 posts on a single platform and all these different shapes and styles. Like, it's a ton of content. And as much as you go, well, Vince, I'm not Alex Hormozi. I don't have a team like that. No, you don't. And I'm not saying you should. But that is who you're competing against. His stuff is showing up in the feed, you know? So, like, those are what the bigger companies are doing. They're posting a lot. They're posting at volume. So to have a system in place where you can get these things, these older posts and older values, and reintroduce them to people because they haven't seen it, they forgot about it, whatever, that is the value here. So,
and you can put those things into like maybe the context of something that's going on right now that you didn't have it in before. So it's almost like a new idea in that sense.
That is a great point. And it's one of those things that, yeah, it's rare when you get these opportunities, but there will be times where you produce something that's based on a trend that was going on at the time or a major event that happened in the news. And to be able to reintroduce, yeah, here's this thing that I did 2 years ago when this thing happened. I think it's just as relevant today. Bang. Yeah, what a great place to be, because it also shows that you were right 2 years ago. So what kind of a good look that is to have things that prove you right and it's aged well. So it's a great place to be. So yeah, think about all of this when you're talking about your posting, your planning, coming up with new ideas. Don't forget and don't devalue your older stuff, because it can be just as important and just as valuable to you. So with that said, if you're looking for ways to talk about the kinds of content that you've been making and getting an idea of what works and what doesn't, and when should you incorporate best ofs for your show and your content, and how can you get more posts up, like, that's what we're here for, and that's why we do the Compass Call. So the Compass Call is a 30-minute strategy session. It's very matter-of-fact and to the point. We get all this information before you sit down. So we're well-informed about what your show is, what your business is, what your needs are, and we can get right to the point to give you the kind of help that you need. So if you're looking for 30 minutes with us, totally free, no strings attached, go to freepodcasthelp.com. That is freepodcasthelp.com, and the link is in the show notes. So next, let's talk a little bit about industry. And specifically, I want to talk about industry news, because this is one of the things that, like, Taylor, I've talked about this a lot behind the scenes with us for, I don't know, I want to say like 4 or 5 months now.
Sure, yeah.
It's really been one of those things where it's like, all right, I need to super aggressively dive into industry newsletters and see all the things that are going on there. I'm following businesses on LinkedIn, for example, that are in our industry, finding random people who are in our space and do similar work, and just following their personal accounts, because the value of it's been, I just have a better idea of the landscape, because I think there's an important disconnect or an important misconception that needs to be addressed, and this is something that I struggled with, which was, I know how to do a podcast. I know how to do it well. I care about this work, and I care about the clients. And so on some level, it's easy for me to say, well, I'm good at this, and I know what I'm doing, and I have these ideas, and I have these opinions, so it doesn't matter what else is going on out there. But what I've realized is that by having some idea of what other people think, it really is a good reflection of seeing where you stand from somebody on the outside. Like, what does a stranger who comes and encounters me, what do they think? How do I stack up? How do I sound to other people that are competing with us? Like, for example, I've seen guys that do similar work to us, and from what I've followed and seen, I think their work is good. They're totally solid professionals. And what I've realized is that encountering their posts, we're saying the same things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, on some level, that's a little scary, because it's like, okay, well, that's not necessarily a differentiator then. But it's also good to say that, like, oh, smart people also think this.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or at least in my estimation of smart people, like, these guys get it, and I get it.
I think also having a perspective of somebody having a different background, like, for instance, we're from the radio world initially. I feel like most people that are doing professional podcasting world was just podcasting, that's it. Like, I'm not asking somebody if I can do this thing, like they're just doing it. So they even have like a different outlook. You know, everything that you've been doing for the past 10 years, it's almost like implanted in your brain. So, you know, it's just like second thinking. It's not really something you consider.
Yeah, that perspective point is really important. I mean, people approach podcasting because it's such a new industry and it affects so many different parts of business and entertainment that you get perspectives from everywhere. I mean, it's people from TV and people from branding and people from sales. And like now we're doing a lot of marketing and focusing on people in that space and learning more about other outside marketing strategies in different industries.
Somebody that just got a USB mic and, you know, it's just barely starting, like has no idea what the media world, for lack of a better term, is.
Yeah, so it's totally different perspectives, all these generations, everything in a constantly moving industry. It changes like every couple of months.
Sure.
It feels like there's a major shift in the status of podcasting. So for us from a business side, it's been really good to see what trends are. I mean, another example of this. So I recently had a thing where I was noticing that a lot of people that I followed that were working in podcasting were having a hard time, like getting laid off, couldn't, having a hard time finding a job if they'd been on the market for a while, didn't feel comfortable with the jobs that they had, we're talking negatively about the future of the industry. And it was one of those things where thinking about the entertainment shows, because that's where like most of these people were, like working corporate jobs and podcasting, it was like, man, this doesn't look good. And what does that mean for us on the business side? What can we learn from this? How does it affect us and our clients? Like that was a real thing. And we've talked about that here on the show recently. But the whole idea is that we've read the industry stuff that supports this kind of thinking or alerts us to things that we need to think about. And so, the beauty of it is, if for whatever your industry might be, whatever you're into, whatever kind of work you do, everybody's making content these days. So there are people in your space that are making content. Go check those things out. See what they're saying. And do it from the idea of what can you learn? How do you compare on a business level? What are the services they offer? What is typically standard at other companies that are a competitor to you? What do they provide? What do you do that's different? Is it different? How does your website look compared to theirs? Like, don't over compare and beat yourself up to oblivion, because everybody's got their specialties and almost their own entryway in, like Taylor just said a minute ago. But it has been useful for us to like look at other businesses and say, hey, this is what they're doing. Here's what we're doing. How can we get better?
Yeah, and I think it's worth stating, just be a fan of other people. Like, appreciate what they do. Like, I know everybody's comparison shopping, like you were just saying, but like just being a fan of something and just like letting go of the ego, just like, you know what, this is actually kind of cool. How can I incorporate this into what I do?
Yeah, it's a great point. Because I used to get that way, being really competitive and like, oh, I need to be better than this guy, and I need everybody to know it. And that was, especially when I was in radio, it was kind of like that.
Well, yeah, you're doing numbers against numbers, so yeah, direct comparisons.
So now it's just like, there's a million people out there. There's a lot of business to be done. It's just we're gonna worry about our own lane, and it's appreciate things when it's done well. And be mindful of when it's done poorly, why, right? Because it's the same thing. It's something to reflect on. So when you put all of that together, this is the value of industry news. Like, follow a newsletter, follow a podcast, follow people on your social media channels, wherever you spend your time and how you consume content. One of the best things that you can do is, even if it's just literally one newsletter, like do something that is going to give you insights to what people in your industry are doing and force you to think and challenge yourself, because the progress that we've been able to make from that has been immense, and it's going to give you a lot of value as well. So be mindful of all of that. And since you've made it all the way to the end of this episode, thank you so much for getting this far. As always, if you can just give us a 5-star rating if you haven't done so already. I have seen a few. Not a lot. I've seen a few, at least on Spotify as I've looked. I think it was. It was either Spotify or Apple. Either way, we've gotten a couple of 5-star reviews.
You're the Spotify guy. I'm the Apple Podcast guy.
Yeah, so I gotta recheck what the numbers are on each one. But we have gotten a couple of 5-star reviews, so thank you for that. Please bring those in. Again, it's just a way to let us know that you made it to the end. That's it, and you appreciate the content that we make. So put that through, and otherwise, hey, keep working. Like we said with all this stuff, like there's a lot going on. It's a lot to do. It's a lot to manage, and you've probably got a lot of pressure on yourself. So just keep working hard, keep getting better every day, and we'll talk to you soon.